You made it. I got a damn good video for y'all today. For Honor can be described in one sentence. They can't keep getting away with this! There are a plethora of times where you join a game and 3 of your teammates leave after losing the first fight. I think people do this on purpose to troll you. God knows it's the best way to ruin my day. Although, I already did that myself by opening up this cursed game. But I knew what this relationship was going to be like, and I'm in it for the long haul. Here's the facts, I'm not gonna lie to you. I have 4,000 hours in For Honor, and after enduring the past 6 years of For Honor, I think I picked up a few things to help me enjoy this game a little bit more. I've seen a plethora of comments asking me how can you manage to stay sane or happy while playing this game, and well baby, I'm here to show you the way. This video will showcase all my secrets to lowering my cholesterol, decreasing the amount of holes in your walls, and helping you save that $60 that you would have spent on a new controller because you keep breaking them. And I want to stress, it's okay to be upset at the game and get a little bit frustrated, especially if you're super passionate about this game. What's important is that if you make a mistake, don't try and fix it. Make another mistake so people will forget about the first one. So if you've been having issues staying happy or thinking about committing Sudoku while it's playing For Honor or in general, this video is for you. Let's get started. We all know that with every major For Honor update, the interns seem to think making a hero annoying or more powerful than the next is good game design, and that results in the player base molding for days until they patch it out, such as Afira's Infinite or Afira's Feats in general, Warmonger's Corruption Feats, Pirate the Hero. This is an issue that we can't fix unless we can somehow force them to fight 4 Black Priors with Oathbreaker. Maybe someone who plays this game and understands what is objectively fun and balanced can take the reins, but alas, if you do what I do, you'll enjoy your life a little bit more. There's teammates who are just high off their minds and just keep swinging for days. And then there's the silly peacekeepers who play strictly for top tier fashion, then recklessly throws flux at you, feeding even more revenge. Please, can you stop attacking? Oh no. Kidding me. Dude, I'm out of here. I am out of here, dude.
Nope.
Oh my god, dude. And then there are those individuals who have it out for you, even when they're on your team. Now, let me just bow this mother. Even after all that, it's still possible to clutch your game 69% of the time, all the time. First things first, I want to explain some really quick tips to get you going and then focus on more in-depth stuff that will take a little bit more muscle memory. Utilize the For Honor Info Hub. I will include a link of this site in the description down below, as this site will tell you the speeds, punish, values, etc, of every single hero in the game. Incredibly insightful if you truly want to be the best. Thanks to the individuals that keep this site up and running. Check revenge tags. If you want a more in-depth guide, there is a previous video on how revenge works in 2v1s and teamfights. I cannot stress how important this is, so if you actually want to improve, please watch the video. Your win rates will skyrocket by 4%, I promise you. Change your FOV to max so you can see more, especially in 4v4. Ubisoft had recently given you the choice of increasing your FOV. The more you can see, the more knowledge you have, and we all know that knowledge is power. Ergo, you have opportunities to counteract whatever comes your way. And Ubisoft is also introducing performance mode, so that'll help those console players out significantly. Heroes that have grab moves like Shaman Bite, Shigoki's Hug, Magi's Grab, and more have long animations, so it's best to wait for theirs to finish and then wail on them afterwards. So if you see a hero bleeding, chances are a Shaman Mama will go for a bite. Now if you do play Shaman or know a friend that plays Shaman a lot, there are a lot of easy ways to have this bite or Shigoki Hug or Magi Grab be 100% successful. What you essentially do is make sure that the opponent either parries you or have your light attack get blocked by the opponent, and making it so that he can't move afterwards. That's called hit stun, baby. Essentially, in that time period, a shaman has enough time to bite the opponent. Shigoki and Magi will usually go for a grab or a hug, and these animations are very long, so be patient and wait for your opportunity to strike. If you time it right, you can do a whiff light into a finisher heavy, which does way more damage. If you see 3 teammates on 1 point, it's better to just stay on a point you already have to boost, since most likely an enemy player will try to backcap you. If you're the average solo queue enjoyer like myself, you must love to scream out loud at your teammates while your parents come in and tell you that maybe you should play a different game because it seems you aren't too good at it. But what your parents don't know is that For Honor was rigged from the start. The most important thing you must ingrain into your skulls is that your teammates are authorized human shields. Their only worth is to slow the enemies down while you escape in a 2v2 situation. If you ever see a teammate that charges into a 1v2 situation with no self-awareness, it is a lost cause, especially if no teammates are spawned or nearby. Unless you're a Ferrum or fighting the most brain-dead opponents, it's already a lost battle, I promise you. You must coordinate with your team, and by that, you need to rotate accordingly to where everyone is. I implore you, if you want to win, you must actively be thinking about these things. Otherwise, you will always scream aloud to yourself, "Where is my team?" When you are on the death screen, you'll see 3 of them on a base, fighting one enemy dying to a guy with revenge. Your best option is to clear Minion Lane and wait for a regroup to retake another base with your teammate and hope to win the next fight. Be sure to not get surrounded by 2 enemies in the Minion Lane, because if you die or stall, there's no value being held there unless your teammates are miraculously taking a base or winning a fight. Playing slow and reading the map is a skill you have to learn every time you come back from spawn. External dodges are incredibly powerful in 4v4. This is one of the best ways to reposition yourself and ignore many character mix-ups such as forward bashes, charged bashes, unblockable heavies, and so on and so forth. Some heroes are way better at avoiding mix-ups than others because each hero has a different set of dodge ranges. The difference between a Raider dodge and an Aramusha dodge will blow your mind. You ever realize why you can't catch a Raider or Shinobi in a teamfight? It's because they have one of the biggest dodges in the game. Let's compare to some of these heroes.
Yeah.
It's like I'm freaking skating across the battlefield.
Oh, it doesn't help that I'm in the corner. The long shot. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I can circle around you in like 2 seconds.
Are you trying catching me?
I'm already catching you.
No.
That's how good I am. That's how good Raiders dodges are.
Oh my god.
I'm making a bigger circle too. That's the thing.
Oh my god, wait. This is a perfect showcase of how good the dodges are.
Yeah, and this gives you so much range. I'm currently making a bigger circle.
You're exponentially getting larger and larger.
I'm using EMC squared, dude. I'm using the
Dude,
quadratic. I'm using the
EMC.
quadratic. I'm using the quadratic formula right now. When it comes to dodge attacks, certain characters have an edge over others. The undodgeable ones, Magi dodge attacks, Kensei dodge attacks, they're all fantastic. When you utilize the target swapping mechanic on these characters, these dodge attacks can be very hard to parry, especially due to the animations and the timings of when they throw it out. Target swapping your dodge attacks is the easiest thing to do on the entire planet. If the person you're fighting against doesn't have an insane undodgeable roll catcher or an undodgeable mix-up in general, then you're basically scot-free. And this is fairly prevalent in characters that can dodge cancel after another dodge attack, Pirate, Orochi, and Genhu. Another thing about positioning is try not to have anybody behind you, because For Honor has tried directional blocking, so there are only so many ways you can block someone, especially when they're attacking from behind you. And you cannot block that because the guard will flicker left and right. This goes for heroes that have 4MS chain lights or fast soft feints, as many great players will target swap to another enemy so that they don't need to react to the indicator. Don't parry anything or try to. If you are a big brain, your map will tell you if there is an enemy nearby, and you should always assume an attack is unparryable. Or in other words, they target swap their heavies and unblockables all the time, so the only option for you is to either perform a dodge attack, whether it be a target swap one, get hit by the external, as it can be risky since players can feint the unblockable and target swap back to you for a guard break, or to never be in that position in the first place. And to do that, you'd have to basically never have bought the game. Pick a good hero that can handle practically any situation. The best heroes right now in general will be right here. Check my tier list for what is best to play when you're losing your mind. I usually make these tier lists after huge balance patches, and they are quite long because I like to go in depth on each hero in the meta. This one is 2 months ago, but it's still relevant because nothing major has really been changed yet. When the new hero drops, I will update the tier list, so look forward to that. Another important tip is that I believe specializing in a hero is more important than playing every single hero and switching between them all the time. Learning the ins and outs of a character can really help you learn mind games between the two. Once you feel you're comfortable with 1 or 2 heroes, you can start to move on to other ones. As you can see in the background, I have been playing Warden a lot lately, mainly just for his fashion though. But what you have to learn about each single hero is that they have a certain role that they need to play. Warden does not excel on being a safe hitting character such as Jangjun, Magi, Tiandi, those characters, they have dodge cancel recoveries, they've got hyper armor, much better chain attacks to continue their offense and be relatively safe, dealing as much damage as possible. Warden, however, has to play incredibly safe, charge up his bash, make good reads, and essentially force opponents to make mistakes. You are there to support your team, and you can always see me charging up my bash and getting ready to strike when I need to. If I am in the middle of a team fight doing light attacks and heavy attacks, I will not bring any value because most characters will be able to dodge my mix-ups. Unless I have a really good team to support me at all times, then I can probably initiate more offense. Warden is not a ganker. He has no tools, no pins to deal really high amounts of damage. Whereas characters like Centurion, you want him to be the one initiating and continuing his pin with his punch. Speaking of which though, go to training and learn every single hero's moveset. This is time consuming and will take a while, but it's good to know the gist of a hero's moveset so you understand the possibilities of their mix-up instead of just wondering if Spider has puss.
Does Spider have puss? Does Spider have puss?
You don't need to play them consistently, but understanding how to punish and read the enemy hero will be massive for you. Get a friend and honestly have duels with them with every other hero and you will both manage to get better at the game, I promise you. If you don't have friends, then God help you. No joke, I really think practicing duels with your friends is probably going to be the most efficient way to actually learn how to play the game. And you need to duel with killing intent. If you're always going easy on your friend, they'll probably never learn, especially if your friend is not too shabby of a player themselves. Growing together and having a little bit of competition really is beneficial. Staying in duels until you feel you have learned how to fight almost every hero at a decently high level is probably your best bet. Then you'll be ready for 4v4 and essentially anti-gank for days. Nobody will play with honor. People who come straight from duels expect 4v4 to be 4 1v1s, and that's the farthest from the truth. Granted, sometimes it's better to watch your teammates die because he feeds so much revenge, but usually, in a good game, ganking is part of for honor. You need to help your teammates. End of story. Don't be the honor tard, as respectful as it seems in a game called For Honor. If all 3 teammates leave your game, you can expect 4 enemies to wail on you in a 1v4 situation. There are times when they feel sorry for you and give you the honorable 1v1s, but expect someone to stab you in the back when you are winning the 1v1, I promise you. It's best to wait and spawn for the game to be over and then go jump off a cliff, ending the game to receive some XP. If you find that you don't care about XP, Alt F4 or shut off your console to get in the next game, because backfill does not exist. Very rarely will a full team join at the 600 point mark, and by then you will be triple capped. The chances of you winning that match are lower than you finding a goth mommy. Do not fight past your minion lane. Always try to fight with them, otherwise these minions will rack up a ton of damage that can potentially make or break a fight. I've died way too many times with just a sliver of HP, and I'm telling you, you can't underestimate these minions. The minions should be a new hero in For Honor. That's how powerful they are. That's how powerful they are. If you see a teammate that charges straight into the enemies after not clearing minion lane, that is most likely a death sentence. Leave him to die. With all those minions slapping him, they'll most likely take loads of damage that could have kept him alive. Do your best to clear the lane before you engage in battle. Unless the enemy is really low and you for sure have a good roll catcher, positioning is vital when you want to effectively win games decisively. A lot of people don't pay attention to anything except to what the opponent is throwing. I mean, how can you? There's red indicators being thrown at you all the time, blue, orange, unblockables, all that good stuff. However, what you really should be paying attention to, especially in the mid game, is what is under their health bar. That's right, you can see what feats they have. It's especially important when they have projectiles. Whether it's kunai, longbow, flask, you must pay attention to that. The only way you can tell if a feat can be used is if the feat is lit up. If it's darker, that means it's on cooldown, and you're safe, for now. I know there's a million things that can be going on in duels or in team fights, but the highest levels of players who track these will always come out on top because they know what tools an opponent will potentially use. Dodging these feats or anticipating them can clutch out some serious games. Letting your teammates know if you're on comms with them will prove incredibly beneficial. Learning easy ganks because you will need them against strong players. Hit stun is one of the biggest mechanics in the game. There are plenty of ways to confirm attacks. You won't always know if your teammate is going to let heavies fly, especially in solo queue, but if you notice a pattern that they do, there are a few ways to help them out. My philosophy is that expect the teammate to not know what the heck they are doing, and if that holds true, you run away and you leave them to die. As cruel as it may sound, it's probably better that you do something else in the mid lane or help out in another fight. Now, if you see an unblockable heavy being thrown, you can either guard break at the right time to land the full heavy, or you can do a light attack to confirm as the unblockable heavy will be distracting enough. Another is if you have a forward bash hero, you can always utilize that to get easy damage in while confirming the follow-up heavy from your teammate. Most of the time, the enemy won't have enough reactions to read both of your guys' input. Another tactic that people like to do is do a whiff light into an unblockable heavy finisher. This creates an extreme amount of pressure and indicator game that forces your opponent to make a read and focus on so many things happening. Now that knowing these specific ganks exist, any good duo or stack will perform this on you, and there is really zero counterplay besides not getting into that situation in the first place. You cannot escape this, unfortunately, unless they mess up themselves. That's why playing with your team is essential, and positioning yourself so that you don't get caught up in that mess will win you more games. There's some heroes like Black Prior who can easily deal with these situations because of his bulwark. He's able to essentially counter block hit stun, allows him to go into his bulwark, and essentially makes him a really hard hero to gank. That's why I recommend him if you really want to get good at solo queue. He's essentially my clutch character and my comfort pick. The next heavy-handed topic that I think more players should know about is hit stun. There's a bash hit stun, but it's not something that's that beneficial to know at this moment. What you do need to know is that certain attacks have light, medium, and heavy hit stun. Many heroes have gotten updates that have allowed their mix-ups to be more safe since the devs have focused on making offense more powerful. For example, Black Prior can bash and light, then utilize his bulwark slash. What's important to note is that this follow-up light has medium hit stun, now allowing his bulwark slash to beat a light attack that the defender will try to check him with. If the Black Prior went for a unblockable heavy feint into guard break, the mix-up would fail obviously. That is why sometimes committing to that is very beneficial. Neutral lights are most likely always going to be interrupted with a light attack if you get into your unblockable heavy finisher. This applies to mostly all the heroes with bash light into unblockable heavy mix-ups. No hero will be able to light them out of unblockables anymore due to this change. It's also important to know that all your neutral heavies will be medium hit stun, and if you go for the unblockable, they still can't do a light interrupt or a zone to try to option select you. Some characters have heavy hit stun with their finisher heavies, such as Warden's top heavy, Shigoki's heavies, but you know how hard those hit, and it makes you stagger. I'd also like to point out that these unblockable heavies, Black Priors, and Wardens aren't 800 ms. Some characters have much slower ones like Centurions. I think his is 1200 ms, and it's very slow, and it will be interrupted every single time. But I still think it's really important to know what is possible and what is not. If you're hit with a bash, you need to learn to respect a hero's offense, since there are a plethora of times 1v1s can happen in 4v4. Doing the most amount of damage the fastest way possible is beneficial for your team, especially if an enemy decides to come help their teammate. So if you manage to get revenge, you can probably finish that guy off much faster. Try this out in Dominion, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people will still be trying to light attack you or do dodge attacks, so be careful of that. And the last one is pretty simple, but still important. Listen to music while you play, something that either gets you hyped and motivated like Berserk's theme, or some of my favorite vocal synthwave songs like The Midnight. If you are a cultured individual, piano pieces or classical music will get you through the end of the day. Many studies have shown that music helps release dopamine in your brain, which makes you feel more relaxed and energizes your mood because it stimulates your endorphins. Not only is this a good thing, but many of us suffer from some sort of anxiety or depression. And when you realize that you're playing this game of all games out there, especially a multiplayer game that Ubisoft owns, depression and anger is far too often a symptom. For Honor is basically a depressant. I'm not saying music is going to cure depression, but it certainly helps alleviate some of the pain you will eventually feel. Combining music with For Honor will soothe your experience, and it certainly helped me. I know it's helped quite a bit of people when I put in some really relaxing music in my videos, especially during the old days. After a long day of For Honor, creating music brings me back to the good side, and without music, I would surely turn to the dark side. So there it is, I've learned all of this and more in 4,000 hours of For Honor. Granted, I didn't have all of this juicy information when I first played the game, and I had to learn the hard way. Now that you know all of the good stuff, perhaps you shall be a worthy adversary in the battle. Or shall you remain a revenge feeder, a brainlet, a mouth breather, a smooth brain, someone who plays For Honor on their Nokia? If you have any secret advice for the people watching that has helped you become one of the best players of all time, be sure to leave it in the comments so that we can all eventually be as good as Freeze or Fort Edits one day. Thank you all for watching and hanging out with me today. If this video helped, do your best to share, subscribe, like the video, and all that Gucci stuff. I'll be here making a video on what you should do when you are in revenge, and yes, that includes some sweet anti-ganking. I'll be streaming on Twitch if you want to say hello. Link will be in the description. Take care, you beautiful souls. Bye-bye. See you later.